Everybody, drop your buffs.
Drop your buffs.
Everybody, drop your buffs.
Drop your buffs.
Everybody, drop your buffs.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Drop Your Buffs podcast, where we recap the strategy, social game, and
stupidity. Oh, I didn't know you were asking for me.
of each Survivor episode.
Yay! We're back.
We're back again. Drop your buffs.
Ooh,
Tell
I
a
feel
friend.
Theme song coming on. We're back. Drop your buffs. Back. Tell a friend. Back. You know, it just kind of like we'll just do a jingle. Everybody will know it, and then
Yeah, you're
we'll
the musical
sing
one.
it.
You're the musical one of us, so you're gonna have to do it.
Oh, okay. I'll work on it. We'll see what I come up with. All right.
Oh man,
How are you? How is
I'm-
everything?
I am doing so good. Life is crazy. I am moving houses. I am hosting Survivor parties. I mean, it was one party, but it was a giant party, so it feels like it was like 5
Yes.
parties jammed into one.
I love it.
I am overwhelmed, but everything is amazing. What about you?
I am also super busy. I know that we said in a previous podcast that we didn't know if we were going to be able to podcast this episode
Yeah.
just because how busy our lives were. But I'm so happy that we managed to get it in the day before the second episode.
We did whatever we
just-
could, and we did it.
Yes. But we just needed to get this in because what an epic season we have in store. I mean, even just from the first episode, I am so excited.
Like, we could not pass up talking about the premiere. Like, if we had to record the next episode and talk about like the premiere and the next episode, it would be too much. Like,
I would
Oh my goodness.
probably start to kind of like twitch at some point because
Yeah.
there's just so many things trying to come out at once. And just
like
from where we were.
just like Tony on the island day one, he's like twitching, like he wants to go run off and find idols, and he's
But
like
he
holding it in.
can't.
Twitch.
Oh God, exactly. All right, well shall we go for it? Let's do
Why
this.
not? Let's do this.
All right. So we open up with that amazing flag footage that we've seen from the last episode of season 39, the teaser, the winners at War Flag.
Better get ready.
It just invokes something so like, what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's just kind of like
Goosebumps everywhere. Like
goosebumps.
you're just on
It's
the edge of your
gritty.
seat.
It's we're ready, and it is that winners at war. We see this montage where they pretty much show us footage of every single person from the seasons they've played in before.
Yes.
There's a scene of Parvati with screaming with the chicken. Very
Yes,
important.
I loved that.
Right. But it just kind of hits all of that nostalgia within that audience that we've been there for all of these moments, and now we get to see them go head to head. We've never seen this before.
Oh, so what was what's your emotion during that? Like, I was wondering if I was going to cry, if I was going to like freak out. And I was just like a giggly mess. I was just like, the whole time.
I think it's so funny because I know like there's the giggly mess. I know people that cried watching it.
I know.
And I'm that person who just kind of goes, let's go. Like, it's like, I'm not like mad that I'm seeing the footage, but it's pumping me up. Like, I want to see these people turn up on the island. I want to see them 20 years later on that mat. Can we just discuss how we're seeing people who played 20 years ago in seasons 2 and 3 out there?
Ethan and Amber.
It's a lifetime. And oh my gosh, both of them have been through a complete different life. You know, one person has, conquered cancer on 2 occasions, I believe. And then you've got a woman who her life changed because of the game, and it led to her life expanding, having a family, 4 children. And we need to remember, I want to preface from the very start of this episode, something that I reminded myself. Amber has played Survivor twice. Amber has also played The Amazing Race twice with Boston Rob. So she's not somebody who is unfamiliar with games. And I think she gets a little bit less credit for being in the world because of who her husband is. But she played before him, and he couldn't have
She
played the Amazing
lasted
Race
super
without
long.
her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what?
So
She's not like that like electric TV personality at all.
No.
Like
No.
she just feels like your everyday woman out there. But like you said, she has that story that is really what draws you to her. And you know, like honestly, I was looking forward to see what she could do.
Well, here's the other thing. Spoiler alert. But here's the other thing. She was asked on the mat, you know, by Jeff, you know, that long ago, you're here, what now? And I don't know why I expected her to kind of like waffle some kind of like meaningless answer, a little bit out of her element, all this kind of stuff. Like, I have to remember, she won the game. She's played multiple times, and she came out with a charming yet well articulated response. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to see this girl play. You know, I want to see what we haven't seen from recent players in that of an original old school game player. I want to see that in this environment. You know, we've been bombarded by new school, and you know how much I love old school. You know that is my realm. I know that you're new school. Oh, also, if our listeners are listening, I put up some polls on our Instagram stories. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad that a lot of you actually responded to them. It gave us a little bit of information, and I think we'll get to the responses throughout the podcast, but I just wanted to let you know, Hannah, that you and I answered completely different on every single question.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Like, some of his questions were like, who do you think what's the one tribe? Who do you think should have been voted out? Or like, did they make the right decision?
And Dekal. Right.
Oh my gosh, of
know,
course.
Which is your favorite tribe? Like, you and I are going to have such different perspectives on this season already. And I love it. That's why we're here. That's why we do this.
Okay, speaking of, so I want to get into what's so interesting about your opinion on the season and talking about how different we are is the fact that there are some winners that you do not like. And this is a judgment-free zone. Djon is allowed to talk about who he doesn't like. I, on the other hand, and I'm like so giddy about all of these players. Like, of course, there's some that I'm looking forward to more than the other. But I think it'd be interesting, Djon, if you shared like the ones that you don't like and who you're not excited for, because I find it so fascinating.
All right. Well, let's go. We see them jump off the boat and they get to the mat. And out of the men that are playing again, am I excited about any of the men that are playing again?
Okay, let's talk about Tyson.
Oh, do not have the best
I love
opinion of Tyson.
I love him. I love his humor. No. I love him so much. You guys hit the beach yet? You know.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's fine. I'm talking Tocantins, mean-spirited Tyson. Just rubbed me the wrong way. The way that he spoke about Sierra, and I loved Sierra that season. The way he talked about Aaron, I loved Aaron that season. He just talked so poorly about these people. I couldn't like him, you know? And so then to see him on Heroes versus Villains, I'm like, ugh, why do we have to see him again? I'm actually wearing this tank top as an ode to Tyson's underwear in Heroes versus Villain, the leopard print, because he wore a flamingo underwear. He's wearing flamingo underwear this season, and I don't have anything with flamingos on it. So I just thought if he's getting to like put on a show, then I'm going to too. Also, I'm wearing my 20 years, 40 seasons buff in the spirit of it.
Beautiful.
But back to Tyson, he was always that mean-spirited person. Then flash forward to this season, he's crying in a confessional, he's being nice and all this. I'm sorry, do I like Tyson now? What is happening?
He got me. When he started crying, I started crying. I'm like, what is going on?
The way he's talking about having a family and things being important, all that kind of stuff, I'm like, wow. I like you a lot better than a lot of the guys on your tribe now. And that's saying something, be it that I never had the strongest positive opinion of you.
So is there another guy that came in that is like your like spicy take, like you do not like this person that everyone else likes?
Jeremy.
That's who it is. Like I love Jeremy. And you don't like Jeremy. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
I just I get it. Like he's this whole like firefighter, the wife, the kids. He's out there doing this, blah blah blah. But like everybody's got a job. Everybody's got a family. Everybody's out there to do it. Like I don't know why that separates him from everyone. You know, that doesn't. He's not the most. I don't see him with like this incredible humor. I don't see him with this incredible like ability to kind of like communicate with the rest of his cast. He's usually in battles with people. Like he's not that fully fledged social player.
I loved him on Second Chances.
See, I loved Kelly and they were at odds. So I think that's another part because I saw him take her out because he had these minions in Tasha and Spencer.
He did.
And that was so frustrating for me.
I will say the one thing that has irked me about Jeremy, but then in the moment I get it, but what irked me is when he skipped to vote out Kimmy Kappenberg during that tribal council when she turned on him and he skipped in front of her to go vote her out. But I was like, you know what? I get it. But I love his personality. I love his passion and I love his accent, his voice.
I was going to say,
so
can
much.
he just talk to you? I knew you were going there. This is Jamal all over again. You need a Jamal.
Sue me, whatever.
But I will say, out of the contestants out there, I'm so excited to see all of these women play again.
Oh, like, when the woman came in, whew.
I don't know. Honestly, the woman that I was least excited to see play was probably Natalie.
Really? And that's one who I was most excited to see play.
I don't like that season at all. I have,
and that's my favorite season.
Like it's just, and the thing is, it's got nothing to do with Natalie because I think she's awesome. I think that she earned her win, but I don't think it's a great season. Oh, the other one I don't like is Kim, and everybody loves Kim and thinks that she's this amazing player. But I just think she played with like 19 duds. I don't know that. That's why I'm so excited to see her play this season because we even saw her on the outs, and I'm like, this is what I needed to see him.
Yes,
like, I might be able to like you now because there are layers and levels to you. And some people would argue that she's the Yule of her season. She had everybody under this like magic spell the whole time. But like, I mean, Yule has still got it. He does. Incredible. But the thing is, like, I didn't even like Yule his season because I wanted Ozzy to win that season. So, like,
you are such a wow.
Right. I'm learning so much about these people that I didn't necessarily have the best opinion of. Funny thing is, I liked Sophie. I liked Michelle. I love Denise. Denise is probably my favorite female winner out there. And I think
she's so fun.
Well, the thing is, I think that she had this great story, having gone to every single tribal council. I was so excited to see her come back in this season and actually win an immunity challenge. But yeah, so that for me was just like, I was excited to see Amber again. So excited to see Danny. I mean, she is the only person from her season to return because the people that have returned from that season were returning contestants. Like
Stephanie LaGrossa. That's it, right? And wow. You know what? Quick note about Denise. When I watched this premiere episode the second time, and by the way, watching the premiere for the second time was like a good lasagna leftovers. You know how when lasagna is good the second time around?
It just hits it the second time, The
second time watching the premiere was so good. And I saw what Denise was wearing on that boat coming to the beach. Do you know what she was wearing on her feet?
What was she wearing?
Chacos.
She was wearing your sandals?
Now,
oh my gosh.
A little bit of Hannah history is that I wore Chacos when I played Survivor. And
I thought you were crazy, but I was also in skinny jeans.
Everybody thought that I was an idiot, but 3 days in, when it's been pouring for 3 days, and I have like dry feet because my feet would dry quickly because I was wearing Chacos.
Exposed to the air and not being
and everybody else has feet
congested.
stuck
like
in
pruny
wet
feet.
Yep. And then they were like, wait a second. She was kind of
She couldn't possibly have won them in the challenges though.
Well, obviously not that first challenge, but she arrived to that island, to the mat, wearing Chacos.
I love it. I love that.
And I
these are the
texted
things
our
we
friend
notice.
Laura, and I was like, Denise is wearing chacos.
Yes, because she was so jealous that she didn't wear hers.
Yep.
There
Okay,
we
so
go.
I will just add that, like, yes, I'm excited for everyone, and I just like looking at all of them lined up when they did that
Yes.
toast, and they did that
Yes.
that Jeff said that really crazy toast that I
Yes.
had to rewind 3 times because I was like, what
I
did
was
he
just
just
about
say?
to ask you about that. How did you feel about Jeff's bad accent?
Okay, he said, so he was like, it's going to be hard. You will be challenged. But at the end of it all, just remember, you belong. And a drink
Yes.
before war is always a good idea. And he throws it behind him. Like, what
Well, he
the
drinks
mess
it
was
first.
that? He drinks it and then he chucks it.
A drink
What in the
before
world?
war, throw it behind you. I loved that we were honoring these people on their accomplishments, because I
Yes.
think they are worried that by getting a group of winners together, there can be that fear in competing again. You know, losing your legacy,
Yeah.
rewriting history. And I think
Oh,
he just
yeah.
wants to say, we are so grateful that you're here.
Mhm.
We don't want to discount what you did to get here, but let's
Mhm.
play a new game.
Yeah, the fact that he like that it was punctuated at the end with "you belong"
Yeah.
just like threw me off. I was like, at the end of this toast, it was "you belong." I was like, dang, that's so.
Like,
I don't know.
it definitely stood out to me. It definitely caught
Mhm.
my attention, but it hit me in the feels, which is we never want you to think that you made a mistake by being here again.
Yeah, like 19 people are gonna lose this round.
And like on the second watch and the third watch, that moment for me, "You belong," really resonated with me after seeing how Kim experienced the second episode.
Oh,
You
that's so
know?
right. Yeah.
So for me, it was just kind of like, that's a really interesting thing that they prefaced the season by saying,
Yeah.
and it's already coming into play. Even, the first tribal council.
Even
You know,
thinking about like how we just talked about Amber for a bit, Amber is overshadowed by her husband a lot. A lot of people owe her win to Boston Rob, and it's kind of like,
right.
you belong, Amber. You belong here.
Yes.
I'll
And
take
it's
it,
like,
Jeff. I'll take
exactly.
it, Jeff.
And even Michelle had a little moment where she was like, I played up, in a season against people that had flashier games. I like how she put that. She wasn't saying they had better games, that she was saying they had more like flashier games. The audience recognized their games more. Doesn't mean that they played a better game. You can't argue that a winner's game wasn't a good game. They won. Like, you really have to take it for what it is. I'm not sitting here saying that Jeremy is a bad game player. I'm not saying that Natalie's a bad game player. They obviously played very good games, but there are different types of games that are going to appeal to different kinds of people. We have never seen 2 winners play the same game. It's impossible, So we're going to have to recognize, and not only have we not seen 2 people play the same game and win, like we haven't even seen, same game and win. We haven't seen the same person play the same game twice. Everybody always plays it different the second time. I mean, Sandra played 2 completely different games, and she won twice, but she didn't win playing the same game.
Yeah, like people say that the Sandra strategy is anyone but me, but when I watched Sandra play, her first time was really under the radar. Anyone but me was truly her first time. Her second time, she found an idol and she was vocal against Russell. She wanted Russell out. She was trying to get him out. And that's what got her the win at the end. Is she was like, hey, heroes, I told you that you needed to get him out and no one believed me. And then Game Changers was way different than any game she had played before, because she had to play, like start out, like not crazy, but she knew she had to be more powerful at the beginning.
Right.
And now we're seeing another side of Sandra. Fourth time out,
How do you feel? Okay, we've done the mat. They've all drank their champagne. They've thrown it over their shoulder.
They all threw behind them.
Yeah, so we get into the first immunity challenge. And already it's like the game is on. Like we have, they got bombarded. Sorry, I feel like I rerouted this conversation.
Oh, it's okay. Well, you know what?
Conversation. But I'm
Speaking of
like, I feel like
Sandra,
we
I
need
have
to preface this.
yes, I have something to say about Sandra in this challenge that we didn't see in
Okay.
the episode.
Okay.
So why don't you give
Ooh.
us a little like overview of this challenge and kind of like where have we seen this challenge before? Have we seen this before in the water at all?
I believe we have seen something. I want to almost say Ghost Island. Did we see it
That
in Ghost Island?
maybe. I don't know.
I do remember the hoop. Like that to
Mhm.
me is a very
Yeah.
I do remember that season, but I do believe it was a recent season and I do think it was in water. But
Yeah.
I was confused watching it. I'm like, is the current of the water going to influence who wins this challenge?
Yes, so the current did influence it. That's why the other tribe ended up winning. I read an article by Dalton Ross. Now I didn't like thoroughly read the whole thing, but I skimmed through and got some different tidbits from Dalton Ross's article, who was on set, I mean on
Mm-hmm.
location during
Yeah,
this, and he said that it was clear that the current was affecting
favoring
the
the Descartes tribe.
yes, but you know the coolest thing is he said not one person from the losing tribe complained. Like they knew that the current and the weather is unpredictable and
Right.
you know in this game anything can happen and no one was mad at production for what happened. And I think that's really honorable, you know, that no
Yeah,
one would
I
be
think I would
upset.
complain.
I know, me too. And that's like the part that's like, wow, what
But
like they just
the other
know
way
that
that you
it
right,
mhm.
yeah. So you just know, but also that influences your game. Are you going to be the
Mhm.
person that's going to completely try and turn this around on production and say, but? Are
Mhm.
you going to be that person who is going to find reasons to like? Are you going to make yourself stand out in a tribe?
Exactly. And
And
all
also,
those winners know not to.
right, and then also maybe there is a part of you that's just like, well, we've got to vote people out eventually. Why not now?
Yeah, exactly.
You
So
know?
anyways, so what I wanted to mention about, like I said, I want to mention something about Sandra is that in his article,
Hmm.
he mentioned that there was a couple matchups that we didn't get to see in the
I was
episode.
wondering about that. Okay.
Sandra and Sophie went against Michelle and Danny, and Sandra and Sophie won in 1 minute and 20 seconds.
What?
Sandra
Against
and
Danny and
Sophie,
who?
Michelle. But then again,
Wow.
that's with the current too, if you want to throw that in there. But you know, and
That's
then
okay. Yeah.
the
Okay.
other
Interesting.
and then something else happened even quicker. Yule and Nick destroyed Ethan and Adam in just 40 seconds.
Okay. I mean,
And
it's
that's with the
Yule,
current.
freaking powerhouse. And I mean, yes, but like, so wait, so Sandra and Yule are on the same tribe. They already had the numbers. So I guess it must
Mhm.
have been like out of 5 then.
Yeah, it was supposed to be out of 5, but I think for the show, for the
They did
premiere,
3.
they, yeah, to just cut it down, you know.
Right.
But anyways, pretty
Because that's the
interesting.
other thing. Well, I always like to look at the mats afterwards and see if like people are wet when we didn't see them get in the
Yeah,
water.
yeah, exactly.
You know, and sometimes they don't give you enough footage to see that. But
I
that's
just want to
really
see if
interesting.
Denise is wearing those chacos.
I know. All right, so we do this challenge. Okay, so this challenge is extremely physical. We've seen it play out before. I believe Wendell has played it. I may be
Okay.
wrong. Please
It
let us
feels right. I
know.
don't know. Yeah.
And but um, so we see the challenge play out. Obviously, the Saleh tribe lose. Decal wins, but we, for the first time, are playing an immunity challenge
Right
right
off
off
the
the bat.
bat. Dang. Their
And
jaws dropped.
right. And not only that, they have been informed that the edge of extinction is in play. Now, let's put this into perspective. The first time we saw the edge of extinction, we had 18 contestants, 9 men, 9 women, split into two different tribes, which meant one was outweighted with men and one was outweighted with women. Very interesting for me because I like to see it play it out more even keeled. And in saying that, the way that these tribes were split, I don't know if that was even killed. It feels a little imbalanced. How do you feel about the
Hmm.
tribe split?
You know, nothing really stuck out to me strength wise.
It's
When
not
I
even
looked at
strength.
the Mhm.
I'm talking connections.
Oh, I see what you mean. I think obviously Natalie gets out because of her connection with Jeremy and how close they are. But when
Right.
I was looking at the tribe breakdown, I was like, they tried. They really tried, and no matter what happens, there's going to be connections. The one connection that I think that production was trying to protect Tony is by having both Sandra and Sarah on his tribe with him. I think that they were
See,
trying to give him a leg up.
I think that they were trying to get him voted out. Why would you
Really?
think? Well, Tony's the reason Sarah went home in her first season. They
Mm-hmm.
had a bad history. Tony and Sandra have a bad history. Why are these
But
people going to protect him?
because Tony and Sarah are BFFs now outside of the game. And before Game Changers, Sarah said that Tony and her would talk on the phone all the time, strategizing for Game Changers. And so like she credits a lot of her win to him
Huh.
giving her tips going into it. And this is just me assuming, but I have a feeling that Tony and Sandra are good. Even though we saw them like reconnect on the beach, I think that
Yeah.
because they went on the pre-jury trip together, I think that stuff probably got restored because I think Tony can win over people easily, but I do think that Sandra holds grudges stronger than Tony can win over people. So
I mean, we heard her talking about Boston Rob, who she was just kumbayaing with for 30
I
seconds.
know.
And I just, look, I hear your theory on
Mm-hmm.
him being protected by these women, but I
Mhm.
also feel like he's the kind of person that as soon as he starts doing what he wants to do instead of what they want him to do, they're going to vote him out. Like
They will.
Right. So I don't think
That's
it's
what happened
in
during
his
Game
favor at
Changers.
all. I think he would have been better off on the other tribe.
Oh, wow.
Because here's the thing, I don't like
Mhm.
Tony.
Mhm.
So I'm happy
Clearly.
with where he's at. So,
Uh-huh.
but the thing was, Sandra's already got him fixated on Tyson. I don't even know that
Mhm.
he actually said that because Sandra was like, I'll make up a lie. And, when we see Yul talking to people to get numbers, he's talking to Sandra and Sarah. He's not talking to Tony.
Mhm.
I don't think that Tony's in on anything. I think he's a number. He wanted Tyson gone. Amber went.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm interested to see if he gets to be in a position where he actually does get to feel like he's running the game. I want to
love
see if he
Tony
gets
so
to have
much.
his. Really, I want to see if he gets to be the War Dog of the season because I feel like War Dog was Tony 2.0,
Oh my gosh,
and then
yeah. I
and
just
then
like
it just
he
kind
is
of.
such good TV. Like when he was like chained to the beach and he was like, "See, look, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just here. I'm just here. I'm not going anywhere." Like
That's so
I
funny.
just
You
love
sounded
him.
just like him. Like I understood exactly what you were doing.
I love
Like,
him
look,
so
look.
much. Look, I'm not
That's
going
okay.
anywhere.
That's so interesting. Because the thing is, like, we're just talking in circles, aren't we?
I
Because we're
know,
already talking
sorry.
about the JCal tribe. No, don't apologize. I think it's great. I think this is what
Uh-huh.
we're all about
Uh-huh.
because we okay. So we need to talk about Saleh tribe because they're my favorite tribe. You like JCal, I like Saleh.
Sally's blue tribe,
Yes,
and Decal is red tribe. Okay.
more of my favorite contestants are on the Saleh tribe. However,
Such
usually
as
on Denise. I've never supported these two people in their previous seasons, but watching Boston Rob and Parvati work together
was epic.
so good. Like
It was so good.
so good because the thing is,
Mhm.
like, they even sat there and went, "Why are we not being
I know.
targeted?
I know.
What is happening right now?"
Mhm.
And I actually like the strategy that they're going in with this time around. I like Danny. I like, you know what? I've never been a Ben fan.
Mhm.
And I'm interested to see how he plays with this group of people. I got a
Mhm.
very JT in Heroes versus Villains edit
Ooh,
of Ben
that's
this
not a good
time
edit.
around.
That's not a
Nope.
good edit.
And I kind of love that he's getting that. It's very
I know, the
humbling for me.
goofy, kind of idiotic edit.
But it's also that guy that was well liked in his season for being that type of different guy and blah, blah, blah. And people helped him get to the end and all that kind of stuff. And then this time around, it's like, oh, what? Does he have a game? Does he have strategy? Is he as well versed as people gave him credit for the first time around? I want to see if he is. You know?
We'll see.
Right. So for me, it's like there are some, so Ethan's on that tribe. I feel like Ethan's a little bit out of his element playing in this game, but
Oh, but can we talk about how much fun Ethan is having? Ethan is having
so much.
so much fun. Of course, he made all of the world cry when he is talking about how good it is to be back and that he's alive playing and I'm choking
Right.
up at home. And
You know,
every confessional we got from him, it was kind of like, he's like, I have no idea what's going on, but he has the biggest smile on his face and he's like giggling
Yeah.
about it. And I just love that. And we see it looks okay. So leading up to tribal council, thinking of the strategy, we saw the old school alliance come together
Yes.
and prevail. We have Ethan,
out
Austin
of
Rob,
out
Parvati.
of conflict, mind you.
Ooh, like what was the conflict?
Well, Boston Rob approached Danny and said, "I hear you're throwing my name out."
Yes,
And
then
that's
she
what
owns up to
actually
it.
got them to bond.
Yeah. So
And
how many
see, that's
is in that one?
4. There's
4,
only
yeah.
4 in that alliance.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing that I was shocked about. So Boston Rob ended up winning season 22, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's still in the bracket of the first 10 winners in this season.
Right.
You know, he won season 22, but the back end of these seasons, we're seeing a lot more current winners playing.
Mm-hmm.
So Boston Rob, as a winner of season 22, is still considered old school. And that's not counting his earlier experiences. That's counting the actual season that he won. So through, so the thing is, then Denise only won like 3 seasons later, a year and a half later, she won. But he's considering her more new school.
Wow.
That shocks me because in my mind, okay, Denise won what, 10, 12 years ago? No, 7 years ago.
Okay.
7 years ago. I was
say whatever number,
living in
I would believe you.
Right. So she won 7 years ago, which was season 25. And we've seen 15 seasons play out since then. This is the 15th season since then. However, we've got 10 winners past that. So she, for me, is in that old school bracket. She goes off with Adam. They find themselves in a really weird spot. So then you got 4 old school, 4 new school, Denise and Adam in the middle, right? So now it's like, which side are Denise and Adam going to fall on if these don't go in and just consume them? And that's what we saw. We saw the old schools take Denise and Adam over and get rid of the new school, which in my opinion was the best thing that could have happened. Do I think that Natalie was the right vote? No. Do I think it should have been Jeremy? Yes.
Wow. Why?
Because Natalie was easily their strongest female on the tribe. Yeah, she's only played the game once. People think that she's not trustworthy, but all we've seen is a game where she played loyally to someone. Yeah. And made it to the end.
And Jeremy has more connections than Natalie has. Natalie just has Jeremy.
Correct. Exactly.
I mean, props to Denise and Adam for getting the target off of them.
Right. I think that it should have been the vote to split up Jeremy and Natalie, absolutely. But I think Jeremy should have gone. I think he's the stronger player of the two. Physically, is he an asset to the tribe? Sure. But then we saw the second challenge where they struggled because they had 2 big guys at the end. You want to have diversity in like the strengths in your tribe. You know, we watch all of these different seasons of Survivor and sometimes they push for strength, but it's not always going to be about that. You need to have flexibility, durability, like endurance, all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't have hated to have seen Jeremy be the first person to go to Edge of Extinction, knowing that he has the opportunity to come back, and I'd rather him have as little to know about the game returning into the game than having existed through it the whole time.
Jeremy is way more dangerous than Natalie.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So that's my take on it. So I do think it was the right move. Okay, so this was one of the questions. Do you think that Sele voted out the right person? You said no. I said yes. I say yes because I was looking at the sides of the tribe and the people that were targeted. I didn't think I would have been devastated if Denise went home. Are you kidding? That was for me, it was between losing Denise. And as much as Denise and Adam are a pair, I also thought Hannah should have won that season. So I don't necessarily have an attachment towards Adam. So usually for me, if I think somebody else should have, like, if I would have liked to have seen somebody else win out over the person who actually won, they're not my favorite winner.
Right.
Chrissy, I think should have won over Ben. Not my
Mhm.
favorite winner.
Mhm.
And it's like, for me, it was really like, okay, out of these two pairs, who would I be willing to lose more? I had more
Mhm.
money on Denise, so it was Natalie and Jeremy for me.
I love how in the responses that you had on the Instagram post, Joe said that it should have been Boston Rob voted out first,
Yes. I
and
mean, I think
Travis
that's
said
obvious.
anyone other than Natalie.
Yeah. That's so funny. Because, okay, so in saying that about Boston Rob, I have had this conversation with a few people now. This is Boston Rob's 6th time attached to a season of Survivor. He's played
Dang.
4 times. He won his 4th season. He was involved in season 39. He's
Yep.
playing for the 6th time. He played the Amazing Race twice. How is he not easily the biggest threat out there? Also, if I had to choose between seeing Boston Rob play again or Amber play again, I'm going to say I want to see Amber. Because
Right, me too.
I've seen so much
We've
Boston Rob.
seen, yes.
He's very entertaining. He's very strategical. He's a great character in Survivor, but I want to see other people too. And I feel like as a pair, it was almost like a Rupert and, what's his wife's name? Laura?
Laura? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Rupert and Laura, it was like, I kind of wanted to see Boston Rob put his hand up and surrender his spot for his wife. And we never really got the opportunity to see that. However, if we had a blood versus water scenario where 2 people had to go straight to, Redemption Island, do you think that Boston Rob would have taken Amber's spot?
Oh my goodness. I have no idea. I don't see him pulling that Rupert move, but you would hope that
I
he
do.
would. You
I
think he would do it?
Well, here's the thing. In that season, they were doing challenges every episode, and there was only a certain amount of people that had the opportunity to come back in the game. This time around, everybody gets the opportunity. So Boston Rob would have thought that he's a stronger physical player. So I think he would have said, let me go because I can come back.
I wish that he would just go ahead and do that. I want to see what Amber can do. I don't want to see more. Although what we're seeing of Boston Rob is so entertaining. And it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, he is going balls to the wall right now. He is going so strong right now. Like, what is he doing?
He's got no other option. Though.
No, he's got to go this strong right off the bat to get stuff going. And it worked.
Having him go up to Parvati and say, I think we know the game the best. And she's like, yeah. And then she said herself, I don't think he's got very many options because he doesn't. His game is written on the wall. He
oh my gosh,
can't hide.
Is Boston Rob going to be Parvati's new Russell where she just drags him along the whole time? Or like she uses him as her front the whole time? That would be epic.
Well,
that would be awesome.
Here's another fun fact that I mentioned to you a while back. So in an alternate universe, Tyson and Parvati are the Sandra and Bostons. If Parvati got one more vote than Sandra in Heroes versus Villains, that would have been Parvati's second win, and she would have been the Sandra. She would have been the queen. She would have been walking around like she's done this a million times. And if Boston Rob didn't manage to win his 4th game or even play the 4th time, I mean, Tyson only played 3 times, and he won on his 3rd try. And here we are. So could you just imagine the Island of Idols with a Tyson head and with a Parvati head? It's just so weird for me to think about. I don't know in what universe.
I would not hate it.
It's just like, for me, it's like, also it's just very aesthetically different. Like you look at Sandra and Boston Rob and they're kind of like these grittier, more like cultured individuals where it's like she's all, anybody but me, and he's all like, I'm going to build a duplex.
The Boston Rob father.
Right. And it's like, and then you've got like Tyson and Parvati, who I just think that their edits haven't, like, you had the Black Widow in Parvati being, like the kind of man eater, which sure, like it's a great thing. And you've got Tyson, who's just kind of that person who like got his vengeance and stuff. But as individuals, as like entities, I don't know how much Survivor could bounce off of their characters as much as it can Sandra and Boston Rob. I don't know if
Uh-huh.
that's an assumption or an overstatement, but
Uh-huh.
just when I thought about that, I was like, who's next in line? It really is, Parvati's playing for the fourth time,
Mhm.
I believe, and Sandra's playing for her fourth time. Tyson's playing for his fourth time. They're all four-time players.
Mhm.
Um, so it never dawned on me that Parvati and Tyson were the next level.
What a different season 39 we would have had. And
Yeah.
speaking of islands, let's talk about Extinction Island. And we see Natalie arrive there. We see
Right.
her thinking of and reflecting on how her own sister was first boot of the season
Yes.
that she won. And I just think that's
Mhm.
poetic and it's
Mhm.
kind of cool. Sorry, Natalie, but it's pretty interesting that you now share
It's
this experience with your sister.
right. And it's like they don't get to share it in the same season, but they definitely get to kind of like connect over being the first person voted out of a tribe where every single
Mhm.
person was able to be voted out, but they targeted you. Now, here's
Mhm.
another fun fact. So Natalie and Nadia, we know, played on The Amazing Race twice.
Mhm.
So they're actually Amazing Race alum along with Boston Rob and Amber. So I was thinking that maybe
Interesting.
that would have bonded Boston Rob and Natalie a
Right.
little bit. You'd think that being involved in a couple different CBS shows, that maybe that would be a way to be like, hey, actually, you ran around the world on 2 occasions as well. I believe
Yeah.
Natalie and Nadia were the first to get voted out of their returning seasons. Sorry, not voted out. They were eliminated. Boston Rob and Amber didn't make it too far the second time around as
Mhm.
well. But I
Mhm.
think they both made it pretty far their first times. So I'm
Yeah.
just trying to find ways for them to kind of like really like connect. And I just thought that
Yeah.
would have been something that would have connected them at least enough that they would have targeted Jeremy instead of Natalie.
I know. And I think that
Sorry, that's bringing
Jeremy.
stuff outside of the
It's
game into the
okay.
game. But we also
Yeah.
saw a lot of stuff from outside of the game brought into the game.
We did. Yeah. So I'm glad that Survivor's being really meta about that and embracing all of the
Yeah,
connections.
absolutely. It's important. It happens every season, but this is the season that we actually get to see it. But you
Mhm.
were saying about Natalie being on the island and having her experiences and just being able to reflect, connect with her sister in that, and just it was. I actually saw something that she posted on social media where it's a photo of her with her arms up like this, about to tie her
Putting
hair
her.
up to go,
Yep. Right
and
when she was
and she
getting
said,
voted out, she was putting her hair up.
right. And in that moment, I don't have it word for word, but she said something along the lines of, in this moment, I was thinking, Natalie, you're about to get voted out. Keep it together. You're going to go to the edge of extinction. It's going to
Mhm.
suck, but you're going to do it and you're going to get back into this game.
I want her to get back so bad. I was so looking forward to seeing her play again, and I need her to come back.
I think she could. Depending on who they vote out, she
Yeah.
definitely has the physical ability. And it's funny
Yeah.
because we even see her talk about, while she's on the edge of extinction, we talk about her saying, I rely a lot on my physical strength,
Right.
but I'm excited to use my brain and
Yeah.
my social skills and all that kind of stuff. So she wanted to try and figure out this clue because she obviously found a clue that was going to
Mhm.
direct her to being able to get a fire token. We haven't talked about fire tokens at all.
We haven't.
Okay, so fire tokens now our new element in Survivor. We don't know that this
Currency.
is just purely for this season.
Mhm.
How
Oh,
do
I
you
bet
feel
they'll
about
do it
the fire
again.
tokens?
Well, I'm way more excited about fire tokens than the return of the Edge of Extinction. That's for sure.
Oh, okay,
Um,
yes.
yeah, but the fire tokens are something um that add a layer of duplicity, as Yul Kwan says. um,
Right.
and I am excited to see how they work. Now, thinking of Extinction Island and what Natalie read about what she could buy, I have just been like thinking
Umming
about
and
what
ahhing
she
about this idol situation.
about well, more like how she has a menu of what she could buy. For one fire
Mhm.
token, she can buy
A pizza.
food, hammock, yeah, beer, whatever. For
3
3
tokens.
tokens, she could either buy an advantage in the challenge to get back in, or she can buy an idol for when she gets back in.
I didn't
And
know that the advantage was an option. All I heard was immunity idol, and that's what's got me umming and
yeah.
ahhing.
Yeah, so both of those things have been like just me thinking about which one would you do? Like why like you could buy an idol, but that doesn't but like what if you don't get
Guarantee.
in? Wouldn't you rather
Mhm.
buy the advantage?
Yeah. That's how I
So
feel. Just find an idol
yeah. Yeah, so
when you're back in
or
the
like
game.
if like someone buys an idol, could they just give it to the person who wins the challenge? And I don't know. So
Right. Well, here's
I
the
have all
thing.
these
We haven't
thoughts.
even been told if the idol is for you to take back into the game with you, or if you're buying an idol to give to someone in the game and then hoping that will bond you to them, because we
It's
saw
I
that
think it's
be
an
the
idol you
option.
bring with you, and it's only used if you make it back in the game.
Wow. Well, okay, so let's also okay, so Natalie gets voted out. She has to surrender her one fire token to someone left in the game.
Mhm.
Obviously, she gives it to Jeremy. I don't think we
Mhm.
had any question about whether that token was going.
Mm-mm.
Did you even question it for a moment?
No, I didn't question it. I know that we've had some discussions about, maybe the strategy of giving it to someone else who you think would align with your person who you're the closest with so that they could work together. But you know what? I I don't
Too
like that
much.
strategy. I think that's too
Yeah.
much. Just give it to your person. Just do it. Who
Yeah.
cares if everybody assumes that they have it? Whatever.
Right. Well, I think all she's doing is trying to strengthen um, her ally, give him more odds because he's now
Yeah.
clearly on the outs. Why
Yeah.
would you give the other side more like strength? And in saying that, then we see her in the so now we see that she has the ability to get a new fire token. She got rid of the
Mhm.
last one. She doesn't have any now, but she has to earn it on the island. And we see that she gets given a clue. This is where she's excited to actually use her wits instead of her physical ability.
Mhm.
And she goes on this massive trek to find this box to get what she discovers is an idol to send into the game. Now, on the description, it says it will go to a member of the losing
Losing
tribe.
tribe.
Right. So she
Which
doesn't
is
just
really
get
too
to
bad.
hand it to anyone. Right.
Right.
Because I feel like if it was the Saleh tribe, it would have gone to Jeremy. I don't think that there's any
Oh
debate
yeah.
about that.
Oh
And
yeah.
then Dakal ends up losing. And we discover that she gives it to Sandra. Now, what is your opinion on this?
I was trying to think through why,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's two things.
Tell me.
One is that Sandra is obviously the underdog, so why not give it to someone who would need it and then therefore
Uh-huh.
buy you some leverage when you get back in the game and you could be like, I'm the one
Right.
who gave you that.
Yes.
Two, you want to send it to someone who will definitely need/want to buy it.
Yes, you want to make sure that somebody's actually going to purchase this. And if we've
Mhm.
learned anything about Sandra, it's that when given an opportunity, an opportunity, she will say yes and worry about it later, which is a
Yep.
strategy that I have been taught by my mother. Don't miss out on opportunities. Say yes and worry about it later.
Love
And
it.
so it wasn't a
That'll be
question
your
for
strategy
Sandra.
when you go play Survivor. It won't be the
Oh,
anybody but me strategy.
absolutely. Absolutely. Say yes and worry about it later.
Love
Can
it.
you promise me this? Yes. Can I? I don't know. But yes, I
I'll
can.
make it happen.
Right. So we see Sandra with an idol and so we get to the second challenge well, let's talk about camp life at Dakal. We've seen the first tribal council. Natalie gets voted out. She goes to extinction. Now we're at the next day, Dakal. And we see the split in the tribe. We've talked about Saleh being this old school, new school, Adam and Denise in the middle. Then we've got Dakal, which has this poker alliance, which they're fixated on.
Oh my goodness.
The funny thing
Yeah.
is that's not been mentioned once on the other tribe. I guess only because Jeremy's the only person involved in it.
Right.
But you'd think that even if there was murmurings about it, that at least show us that the other tribe's talking about it. So we can be like, wow, this is a season thing. This is not just an island thing. So the people involved in this so-called poker alliance are
Tyson,
wait.
Boston.
No, so it was two people. It was Boston Rob and Jeremy. However, Boston Rob and Jeremy didn't align. Are we just discovering this for the first time?
I had not thought about it. So it's like truly a fictitious alliance.
but who's the person that planted the seed?
Yul,
You.
right?
Yes.
Yul did.
So he's so good.
He's doing so good. He's doing amazing.
He's not playing flashy. He's not trying to like, do whatever. Like even just the scene with him and Sophie, where she like stops in her tracks and she's like, "You want to work with me?" She goes, "Can't you like say with a little something more?" I feel like I was
probably
asked
like
out on a
one
date.
of my favorite moments. I loved that part.
But it's such a sentiment to what he is as a player, which is like, I'm not gonna like make this out to be like anything else than what it really is in this moment. And what it is in that moment is that he wants to work with you. He's not getting down on one knee. He's not asking you out on a date. He's saying, "Hey, let's do this. What do you think?" And the funny thing is, so we see Yul and Sophie in the middle of this tribe, right? And they have what they consider two allies in that of Nick and Wendell, as the four of them being
the least connected,
players.
And they're like the least connected with everybody else.
Right. Least connected, one-time players. The only other person on that tribe who has only played once, I believe, is Kim Spradling.
Okay.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Because then we have Sandra 4 times, Sarah 3 times, Tony 3 times, Tyson 4 times. Dang. And then we have Sarah, Amber 2 times. So this is her 3rd time now. All right, so we've got those 5. We've got these 5s. Kim ends up on this side because of some poker alliance that she's now incorporated in with Tyson and Amber. Maybe another reason that Boston, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe another reason that Boston Rob kept Jeremy in the loop is because of this so-called alliance instead of
Natalie.
Yes.
Ooh, I like what we've discovered.
Yes. So I'm like, maybe that's something in there. Because what's happening now is you're seeing people get ostracized based purely on their social networking or dynamic or whatever, which we see every season just on what they know from the island. But we're seeing this prior to the island. So someone like Kim, who hasn't played since her first season, really wants to just come back out there and play it again, beasting it up in challenges and stuff like that, is now being targeted. She will walk up to any group of people and they will stop in their tracks talking.
This is my drop your buffs moment, is when Kim Spradlin dropped to the ground at Sandra's feet and was on the verge of tears. I was like, I can't handle this. I can't handle this.
For me, that was the most humbling moment to see from her. And I needed that just to see that she has the element of being able to overcome something. I feel like in her first season, she was just trying to like get these people to stop being crazy enough to help her get to the end. She always had her finger on the pulse. People came to her for what was going to go on. She had a crew of people. It wasn't really like she wasn't really fighting against another side. Now, that's completely the case.
She had the world at her fingertips last time.
Right. And okay, so the other thing is, so you've got Yul going up to the other people in Sandra and Sarah saying, "Hey, what are you thinking? Maybe we need to, what are you thinking?" And they mention something and he's like, "Well, maybe we should do that." And then he actively says, "Well, I've kind of already been putting that plan together, but it's good that they think that that's their plan." He isn't necessarily working with small players. We're talking about the most recent female winner in Sarah, where she was a dominant force throughout the whole season. I know a lot of people didn't like her in that season.
Right.
I loved her from the get-go. I knew we were getting footage of her from the start because she was playing a good game. People thought that tribe wasn't doing anything. They were just winning. They weren't going to tribal council, so we weren't going to see much of them. But she was so in tune socially with everybody. And so this is where it's like she has to connect with someone like Sandra because they've both got big targets on their back for being these bigger female social players.
Yeah.
And then he goes to these bigger female social players and says, "Hey, I'd be willing to work with you guys because I think it's better the devil you know. Keep your enemies close." He's not dumb.
Do you think Yule's target? Do you think he's painting a target on himself at all, or do you think he's going to stay under the radar?
I think the target will come in the merge. I think we're definitely going to see him in merge game. I think there's no way that they're going to come after him early on because purely based on Sophie, Wendell, and Nick wouldn't go for him just because they need him. When they're worried about this, they worried about this Game Changers Alliance, which I still think has many flaws to it. But I think they're better to work with those three, knowing that the three of them will at least turn on each other, where the other three won't necessarily turn on each other. You know, this Tyson, this Kim, this Amber kind of crew. But
Tyson was willing to. I love how he switched his strategy halfway through. Oh, well, that's leading up to the next tribal. But do you want to talk about the second immunity challenge before we talk about the next strategy at all or anything?
Oh, yes. All right, well, let's do it. So we get to another water challenge. We love our water challenges. We love our wall.
This was a very we love our wall. It was I thought you said wall, but you said war, but your Australian accent made me think wall.
We love our war.
Because they did have to go over a rolling wall. So that but like there was the boat, there was this giant roller, there was the classic numbers in the lock, and then we ended with some hoops.
Right. Okay, so I was watching this, and from the very beginning, you see them like screaming, go, 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 running with this boat. And then Sele just instantly is just paddling the boat in the wrong direction, straight into their pontoon. I'm like, guys, slow it down for 1 second. Boston Rob's pissed. Boston Rob always, there's never a question. Boston Rob always gives 110% in a challenge. Have you noticed that?
I didn't realize it till the part where he's pushing everybody over the roller. I was like, holy crap, Boston Rob.
No, but he's like putting his paddle into the pontoon, thinking that he's going to be able to stop the force of this boat from going into it. It like pushes him back. He's pushing off with it. I'm like, you don't care. Like this is a man who thinks that he can physically move mountains. And I question if he could. Not the ability that he couldn't, but just because it's such an impossible task, I wonder if maybe he actually could, just based on his determination.
You're so right, though. Like, he will make it happen.
He's like jumping off the boat to get onto the pontoon when it's like this, I was going to say a meter away. For Americans, that's what, like a yard and a bit. So like, you know, it's like, I just think that he is this physical beast in these challenges. You know, you saw him in the first challenge and I'm like, he's one of the older players. You know, he and Sandra are the same age, you know, and Sandra's sitting there like excited to sit out, which nobody was surprised by. I love how Harvey's like, wow, really surprising. But, you know, even Sandra sitting on the side is like, come on, guys, let's go. Tony, keep your eyes here. Like, that's just... Yeah, exactly. Like she's in it. Even if she's on the side, she's going to make sure that she's involved. But anyway, we see them do this challenge. We see them running over. I love that we're seeing all of these people that played 20 years ago still giving everything they've got and coming across as these physical players. They jump off this thing, get into the water, and then they get to this rolling thing. I think there's this platform thing and there's the rolling thing, which is what's really going to be the most difficult thing for them to get over.
That was
significantly higher than the water level, and they're only so tall. Like, how do you get someone over? So the first part's the hardest part, and then they start just like wheeling people over. You see the decal people just get one person over.
I don't know why, but watching people just fling themselves head first into the water brings me so much joy. Like with their feet flailing. I love it so much.
Yes. It looked miserable to me. You know how I feel about water. And it's like, this wasn't deep water either, which that's fine with. But the idea of going head first with your legs going over you, which means at some point you're upside down, which means the possibility of water going up your nose is very high.
Good times.
Like that, like they would have continued to flip in the water underneath them. That sounds miserable to me. I'm like, why can't you just like help them get off? Come and just help them. No time for that.
It's also like, did you ever go to a camp or do like a retreat where you have team building exercises where you have to like go, your whole team has to go through this hoop that's hung up by rope and no one can touch the rope.
Yeah. That's the one I was thinking of.
Hate team building exercises, and
I love them.
Oh, of course you do. At the end of it, you have bonded with your team and yay, we did
Yeah.
it. And it was
Yeah.
hard. And this rolling machine just felt like a big team building exercise.
It's so funny because that like reminds me. So when I was in grade 6 in primary school, we had
Mhm.
one camp, and I completely forgot about this until now. And I remember that our team, because we were split up into different groups, we had this spider web wall, like it's got different holes and stuff like
Where
that.
you can't touch
And
anything.
you can't get through the wall touching the rope, and once the hole's gone through, you can't use that hole again.
Yep.
Okay. So, but I remember that our group was being led by our priest, our parish priest. So somebody that we've all been, through all of primary school and had as our leader, if you will.
Yeah.
And but he asked who would want to be the person to like allocate how we do this. And I think I put my hand up.
Of course you did.
But this is funny because I had already started watching Survivor at this point. So I think I would have seen this as like a Survivor challenge and seen this as something that I'm like, oh, I think I've seen this before. I know how to do this. And I just remember being like getting the taller guys to go through the 2 holes on the ground so that they're knocked off. And then we get the littlest person to be carried over through the top.
Yeah.
And it was just really a fun experience for me as this, skinny little brown dude in a very different environment, being able to see
calling the shots
together. Right. And just like that, I think like you kind of like brought up a very early memory for me about my love for like this game and different people coming together and working together and feeling like.
And who's the voice that tells people what to do? I feel like I feel like we saw Rob yelling when it was his turn to go over the roller. Wasn't he yelling like, grab me, grab me?
Right. But you
good.
need that. You need somebody. Here's the other thing. I think it was a blunder that they left both Boston Rob and Jeremy at the end.
Yeah.
I think that they could have at least got one of them over, Jeremy, because Boston Rob was the one launching everybody over. But the idea that he was the person to get Jeremy over, Jeremy just couldn't get on top of him without falling off.
But you know what? Yeah. Sorry. And at the end of it all.
And then how do you get Boston Rob over? And like, it would seem like such a big thing. I was like, Boston Rob, hold on to Jeremy's legs as he goes over. And then I'm like, maybe they'll bend the wrong way. And maybe that's a lot worse. I was like, I could have just seen like this train of people. Could you imagine just a train of people going over? That would have been epic. I want to do it one day. Put me on Survivor. Give me that challenge. We're going to make a train of people going over.
We're going to dream team this. But at the end of it all, Jeremy still brings his tribe to victory with his Granny Smith throw of the hoops. No shame, just Granny Smith in those hoops and nailing them. Wendell was trying to look super cool, but you know what? You can't be cool in Survivor. You just got to get the win however you can.
I think Wendell did this challenge in his season, and I think he won it for his tribe.
Yeah, I mean, that feels right. I feel like we've seen that. We've seen him kill this challenge.
Yeah, so I think he was like, but I remember there being like 7 paddles. I remember they all spelling immunity.
Immunity, Yeah.
And so I remember that specifically. But then you see, Jeremy come out. I think he had the best strategy and technique in doing it. Got his first one on, got his second one on.
The Granny Smith throw is the way to do it. To get it vertical, boom, done.
I have no pride in accomplishing something by looking good.
Right.
All of the pride is in accomplishing it. However, necessary.
Right. So, I mean, how do you, seeing when they lose that challenge, when DeCall loses and they're walking away and you see Boston Rob looking at Amber and you just know it's not going to be pretty. You're like this. And I was waiting for Boston Rob. I think I messaged some friends. I was like, I was waiting for Boston Rob to pull the thing he did in All Stars where he took Lex aside and he said, if you protect her, I'll protect you. Like, if you can. And I was waiting for him to try to
said that I will protect
happen.
you if I can. And I can't.
And I cannot. And I cannot.
That is so funny.
He wanted to.
From that mistake.
He wanted to.
Well, that was the reason he lost.
Yeah.
That was why he lost the game. So why would he do that again, Hannah?
I know.
Why would he do that again?
To protect Amber. Protect Amber. If you can. If you can.
Boston Rob and I pronounce Amber the same way.
Yeah.
Amber.
Emba. So the strategy leading up to tribal council was insane. It was flying around, people changing. Tyson changed his strategy from Tyson tried to call the shot, and when he realized that it was not going to work, he was like, all right, I'm going to have to vote out one of my own to keep myself safe.
Well, not only was he not calling the shots, we saw footage of him saying, they all left me. And he was running after people to try and be in the conversation. Humbling moment. These are the moments I love.
Yep. Yes.
Because I say it's the fall from grace. Like, I need to see people achieve these things.
That's what at the end of it all, I feel like you love the people who fight so hard for their spot.
Absolutely.
That's your favorite thing.
That's my favorite thing. I love a good underdog. Someone like, as early as season 4, watching Vesepia win that season, when the 3 people on the outs of one tribe and 3 people on the outs of the other tribe come together, knock out the other people, and then get to the end. That for me was massive.
Of course, you're like the only person who remembers that. I know there's other people who remember that, but I'm like, what happened?
Well, there was Pascal, there was Kathy, and there was Nalia. They were on one tribe, I believe. And then there was Vesepia, Sean, and who was the 6th person? There was definitely 6 people that came together because they were calling the shots that season. Because then you had your Djons and your what was it? Was it Gina? And anyway, there's a whole bunch of people.
There's someone listening
Boston
who
Rob
knows what you're talking about.
Boston Rob was already voted out that season. But what I wanted to say was about Vesepia. She posted on social media because a lot of people asked her why she didn't go back. And she mentioned that she has never been asked to come back to the game. Now, I was under the impression that she had been asked to play in All-Stars, but she was pregnant with her son. Okay. Now, with this statement, I don't believe that's the case. Because she was also, she says it herself, she was the first African-American woman to play the game. Sorry, not to play the game, to win the game. And she is the only African-American woman to win the game. So that's, for her, it's like, I would have loved to go back out. Yeah. So I think we've seen 2 African-American, 3. I don't know what people's racial background is, but we've seen more darker men win this game than we have women. So she was somebody who was like, I would love to play this game again. I honestly think that when you look at this season, you have to look at the breakdown of the qualities of the people, because in any normal season, they're not going to put 2 of the same thing into a season, or at least they try to at all costs. Now, people like Vesepia and Sandra, I think they're both diverse. They're both older women. They're both not necessarily as physical as the rest of the people. Is it too much to have 2 of a similar thing? And in that lineup, is Sandra just the clear person that you want to see out there?
Yeah, and how many people remember Vesepia? Sorry to say that, but CBS is, I know, of course Djon does. Djon raises his hands I do. I actually remember the whole strategy of that season.
You're right, yeah.
Whereas, but I don't know, I just totally can tell why CBS was probably like, no, don't call her.
Right. Well, considering that they've only had 15 women win and they had 10 of them come back for this season, so it's like there were 5 people that missed out. We missed out on Vesepia. We missed out on Jenna. We missed out on who else is there? We missed out on Jenna. We've missed out on Natalie from Samoa. We missed out on Tina from Outback.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember if we actually had a 5th female or if that's Sandra winning twice as the 15th win.
I don't know. That's a good trivia question.
Yeah.
I do not remember.
So if I've missed someone, I am sorry. However, I think we got the rest of them.
Speaking of Sandra, do you want to talk about her receiving the idol? You want to talk more about the idol? And this might have to do more with what's going to happen in the future with the idol. But, she didn't play at this tribal. Even though she easily could have been the first one out, but wow, she knew it wasn't her. What do you think she should do? How did
Boston Rob and Sandra survive the first vote?
And Parvati.
When they had idols, they had their heads made into giant statues on an island, and they weren't even targeted.
They had to do it. What do you think that Sandra should do with this idol? I mean, should she just play it at the next tribal and like
how many
get out
tribals is it
someone.
valid for? Did they say how many, or is it just an
Ooh,
idol?
I feel like it's just an idol, but then again, I don't remember.
Right. So I'm not sure. I think it was something along the lines of, I thought there might have been like the first 3 tribal councils, but this is just her idol right now. I think that she plays it when it needs to be played for her numbers. Honestly, we've seen idols be played for her in Heroes versus Villains when Parvati gave her an idol. Parvati gave Jerry an idol, and it helped the numbers for them to have the numbers to get to the end of the game. Without that move, they wouldn't have been able to get to the end of the game. If Sandra purely plays that idol for herself, which we've also seen, we saw Sandra play an idol for herself in Heroes versus Villains, where I don't think it was even necessary, but she's like, I'd rather play it than get knocked out accidentally, like even though the numbers aren't on me, because you'd rather, you don't need a souvenir, as you know, Tommy said, you can take that home as a souvenir. You don't need that. You need to get to the end to win the million, and she did. So
you know what? I don't think she's going to tell anybody about it. What do you think?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Do you think she'll be smart enough?
Sandra is not the type of player to rely on other players.
Right.
Frankly, she's not. I mean, even in Heroes versus Villains, she was at the bottom of that villains tribe. And she tried to go to the heroes and say, you need to knock out so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. And people were like, we don't believe her. And she's like, fine, I'll do it myself. I'll get to the end myself. And she did. The one time that she tried to go to like Rupert, who was an ally of hers the season before.
Yeah.
You know,
she tried to, she tried.
Wait, did she, I'm trying to remember if he was still around at that portion of Heroes versus Villains. And I think he was.
Yeah. She tried like right at the merge, right? Didn't she try to get him to like believe her? And that's, I think she tried to give him a heads up before JT was voted out. She tried to like say like, this is not good. This is not okay.
There was Amanda and Colby, because Amanda and Danny fought over an idol while Colby was sitting in a bed just watching them.
Classic.
We had Candace, who was the person to flip, and then they get rid of her the next episode because she flipped. Then we had Rupert and JT. The Heroes tribe was a mess at that point because all of the loyal people got voted out early on in the season. And that was a villains season.
Yeah.
Anyway,
which is fine with
saying
me.
that. This for me is like Heroes versus Villains quality content.
It really is. And
You know,
if this season is any bit as amazing as Heroes versus Villains, we have an amazing season.
Well, how many people from that season are in this? We've got 4 villains. We've got Boss and Rob, Tyson, Parvati, Sandra. I don't think we have any heroes. Because I don't think
Ethan wasn't out there.
No, none of the heroes on that season had ever Tom Westman was a hero.
Yeah, but he's not.
He didn't play this time. And I think that's it. I think the villains are the people that are standing out. And it's funny because the villains are ending up becoming heroes. You know, their edit is changing. You know, you've got Tyson crying about his kids. You've got Parvati crying about her kid. You've got Boss and Rob talking about how he's good at making kids. You've got like when he said that, when they were like, "You've got 4 kids," he's like, "Yeah, I guess we found something that we're good at." I was like, "Oh gosh, that he's good at." Like such a dad statement. I was like, "Stop."
He's got the dad jokes.
Anyway, okay, so we've got the Decal tribe. They're trying to. I honestly think that the power structure is forming in that of the newer players, the people that aren't attached, and the people that have only played once.
Yeah. Yep.
So not necessarily Yul being a newer player, but only being a player that played once.
Yeah, he really got that. He had a game plan coming into Survivor, and we're seeing it play out. And I hope we get to see it play out for a really long time.
I honestly think the only way that his game, you mentioned this earlier, like what happens, how does Yul get voted out? I think that if Parvati and Yul get to emerge, she either targets him or uses him. I think there was a moment when they arrived to the mat and Parvati was looking over to which men were there, and I think she saw Yul, and that's when her face lit up.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't know that they've necessarily connected since they played the first time.
Who knows?
But they share a bond. You know, you and I know that it doesn't matter what side of numbers you were on. If you were part of the same experience, you have a bond,
Yeah.
you know? And it's like, it's uncanny. Like, even if you were the first person voted out of that season and the other person was the person who won that season, you have a bond because you played with the same people.
Yeah.
You know, you have a connection in that. So I
Yeah.
would be interested to see how Parvati would go with getting Yul involved. Because here's the other thing. Maybe Yul gets into a merge with his side having numbers. Parvati and Rob are there in the bottom of the numbers. Parvati and Rob are
Ooh.
there.
Oh my gosh.
You know, does he take them under his wing, try to take all of these big threats to the end, have them take each other out and get to the end? I honestly think that Yul can take Sandra to the end and beat her.
Yeah. I can
Because
see it.
people have been saying, do you take Sandra to the end? I'm like, if you think you can beat her. And they're like, but we've seen it happen before. People have taken her to the end thinking they could beat her. I'm like, but they didn't have better games.
I love Sandra, but I would also love to see that.
Right. Here's the thing. We've seen Sandra win twice. We've seen her get voted out. The only thing we haven't necessarily seen is her get to the end and not win. We've seen Parvati get to the end and
not win.
And get to the end, not win, and get voted out. We've seen Boston Rob get to the end, not win. We saw him get to the end and win. We've seen him get voted out twice.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, her arc, we just need to see her get to the end and not win.
Oh my gosh. That'd be so great. Is there anything else you want to add about this tribal council with Amber getting voted out? Anything stick out to you about that?
The thing that stuck out to me, no.
Yeah, I mean, I
Nothing
knew
really
it was
stood out.
coming. I knew it was coming, and I was genuinely scared it was going to be Kim. I did not want it to be Kim. I love this new humble Kim. Not that she wasn't humble her first round, but we saw her in power the whole time. So now it's great to see her on the outs.
I probably would have preferred it to be Kim.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see more of Amber.
Mm-hmm. You know what? That's exactly what Travis said on our Instagram when you said, who would you like to see get voted out rather than on Decal? And he said, I would have loved to see Amber stay, but I know that it was, what was going to happen.
It's like, I guess I'll get to see how Kim and Tyson played these new games.
I can't wait.
I'll get to see how Amber. Well, the other thing is Amber was her second time, and then she was voted out second. So there's something about the number 2 that it's probably that kind of number for her now, where it's like the 2s, like maybe that's her number.
I love it.
You know how I like my numbers. You know how I like theories and systems and all that kind of stuff. So that's something that I noticed.
I love a good trend.
Okay.
So I guess, do you want to go to talk about next week on Survivor, or is there anything else from this episode you want to chat about?
I still wanted to talk about Amber's vote. I wanted to say, well, she gets voted out. Are we surprised that she gives her fire token to Boston Rob?
No, right? Nope. I love how they show her thinking about it, and it's like, no.
No. She's like, well, yeah. But the other thing that I noticed is she ends up at the edge of extinction, and she turns up to Natalie. Mm-hmm. And Natalie goes, your tribe lost. I really wanted my tribe to lose.
Did she want to see Jeremy next to her? Like, come on, Natalie.
Well, no, because then he'd have an idol. And he would have been able to play it.
Oh, you're right.
So what I learned from that moment when she said your tribe lost was she's not told which tribe loses when she gives up the idol. Mm-hmm. She's given...
just picking someone from each tribe.
Correct. So I think that that's what we kind of have to recognize moving forward. If people are giving things to certain people and you'd be like, why did they give it to them? They might have had a better choice. It just couldn't go to that tribe. Right. So now we've got Amber and Natalie on an island together. I think they'll be able to bond over their amazing race experiences.
Oh, true that.
So that'll be fun. Mm-hmm. And Also, with the breakdown of last Edge of Extinction to this Edge of Extinction, which I didn't completely get into and I completely forgot that I hadn't finished. We saw 18 people do it that time. We've got 20 people this time. Does that mean we're getting 2 more episodes? Does that mean we're getting double boots? Does that mean we're getting 2 tribal councils in future episodes?
Ooh.
We need to have a breakdown that's different from the last time around, because last time there was 18 people because 2 people came back into the game. That gives us 20 votes, which means it's a space of 20 people. This time, are we going to have the space of 22 people? That makes this the biggest season of US Survivor we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because now I'm wondering if when we've brought back people in like Blood versus Water seasons, we've only brought back 1, right? We haven't done it at Redemption Island. We brought people back into the final 5 as well. But was there 18 people in that season, or was there 20 people in that season? There were so many questions for me to ask myself that I should have figured out the answers to before having this podcast. Oh my gosh.
I wish we
Djon.
knew how many episodes we were slotted for. Like, I want to know when the finale is, because I want to like fly out for the finale. Ugh.
Yeah.
But I don't know when it is. I don't even know when it is.
Well, we know that there is a Hearts of Reality event happening in Los Angeles this year. Usually they take place in Florida. It's a charity event run for the foundation Give Kids the World, which kind of
is
gives
awesome.
like final wishes to kids who are ill and things like that. It's an event that's taken place in Florida for, I think, about 10 years now. They're having one in Los Angeles.
Oh my gosh, I hope I can make it. I just have to get the time off work. Woo!
Yes, we'll see. All right, so next week on Survivor, what do we see?
I wrote down 3 big things we see. 1, we see Boston Rob pissed that it wasn't Sandra voted out and that it was Amber.
Right. Well,
2,
Sandra was pissed that it wasn't Boston Rob. So
I know.
Even now.
Yeah. We see Denise tell Adam that Ben knows. But we don't know what that's about. We don't know anything.
I think she found an idol.
Ah! Oh my gosh. I love it.
I think she found an advantage. She found an idol. I think she found something and he was there.
Well, good news is that Ben said that he wants to work with Adam, so that's a good thing. But they didn't look happy about the fact that Ben knows.
Well, it's funny because in the second episode, we see Ben saying we need to bring Adam in. He doesn't mention Denise. So maybe this is a way that Denise gets herself in on the... I think that Adam and Denise are in the middle again. I think it's just how it is. They might end up bouncing back and forth. We know that Adam's done a lot of bouncing. We know that Denise has done a lot of bouncing. So,
okay, new tribe alliance named the Bouncers.
The Bouncers!
Adam and Denise, the Bouncers. Okay,
Jungle Boy too.
The last thing we see for next week on Survivor is we see a giant ladder and we see Tony up on the ladder.
You know what? I'd climb it too.
I have no idea what's going on, but I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see the Angelina Keeley ladder return to Survivor.
Oh, the Angelina ladder. Oh my God. Just randomly.
She walked so we could run.
Hilarious. And then she like held things in her neck while she was balancing on things as well.
That classic GIF that will never get old.
Yes. Another thing we disagree on, GIF and GIF. Anyway. I love that we can do this, Hannah, because you and I always have such different perspectives. We're completely open to each other's things that we recognize in episodes. The fact that you love Jeremy's voice as much as you love Jamal's voice. The fact that we are going into an epic season of Survivor. I think that Edge of Extinction is one of those things that, you know what, we didn't love it the first time around. I think we'll learn to love it the second time around, but then we might have to put it to rest. The same way that I hated Redemption Island the first time they did it. I actually loved it when they did it in the Blood versus Water format because there was more on the line. You're watching people that you care about compete. The same way that Edge of Extinction this time, we're seeing people on the edge of extinction that we as an audience care about. Yes.
There's so much more going on.
So I think that what we got from the last Edge of Extinction was to get to this place the same way that we saw the first Redemption Island to get to that second place.
Love it.
So got great hopes for this season.
Mhm.
I want to see how the fire tokens influence this season.
Yes.
I
yeah.
also saw, so you know how in the immunity idol, we see the skull, we see the fire tokens in the eyes. It's a really
Yeah.
cool aesthetic. One of the former contestants, Jess from Millennials versus Gen X,
Uh-huh.
I think she posted, I wonder which contestant's going to be the first to realize that those are fire tokens and take them
Uh-huh.
out of the idol. And I
Uh-huh.
went, can they take them out of the idol? Like, is that like,
Well, did you see who
this-
responded?
I didn't know.
Nick Wilson tweeted her back and said, "Oh, I tried. They didn't let me." I'm like, it would be Nick. Can't you just see him doing that?
Oh, absolutely. Because she
Yeah.
was like, I think it'll be Adam. And in my mind, when she said that, I was like, maybe this is like idols in plain sight, like in Survivor China.
Oh, I would love it.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's so, and so
I wish Survivor would have done
instantly-
that.
No, see, I don't.
Yeah.
Because I just kind of feel like it's kind of like an ode to win the idols, but this is the fire token season. Like
I
they
love it.
could have called this season like Fire Island or something like that, you know.
Mhm. Ooh, I like it.
But they could have done the fire tokens in a different season and then just had them in this season as well. But
Yeah.
and you know, Natalie said it herself. This is the first time that the Edge of Extinction is going to influence the game as much as it is this time around. I mean,
Mhm.
it did influence the game last time, but maybe this time it's going to be a completely different game. You know,
They're
we're
gonna
going
have
to watch
more
the
going on.
people, right, doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So without dragging this out for too much longer, I'm very excited. Very, very excited.
Okay,
Did I
tell
want to see
me.
Amber go? No. Do I want more awesome votes in the future? Yes.
Tell me who's winning this season.
Oh, I think Denise is in a good spot just based off of being in a bad spot.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody could pull it off, it's Denise.
Yeah, absolutely. And my whole thing is, I just think that there are bigger threats, there are bigger targets,
Mhm.
there are bigger blunders. I think she talks well. I think she communicates well. I think she's a good physical asset. I think that I said it last season that a woman was going to win. I was wrong. However,
Ugh.
I do think a woman's going to win this season.
Mhm.
Just because it's been since Sarah.
I know.
Sarah Lucina was our last female winner.
Even though I want a winner to win, I cannot deny that my winner pick
A winner's
is
gonna win.
Wendell Hall. Oh my gosh, a woman. A woman is gonna win, but I think who's gonna win is Wendell. Take that tongue twister. Yep. I can't.
Wow.
He was who I wanted to make my winner pick for Ghost Island, and I didn't do it, and then I regretted it because obviously he won. I
Right.
cannot deny him my winner pick this time.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I would like to see Denise win. I would like to see some of the OGs get far in that of Danny and Ethan. I know other people are like, why? I mean, I think Ethan will get far, but I think he'll get burnt. I don't know that he has the best game. I would love to see Parvati get far. If she can be the 2-time winner, I'm not going to be angry about it. I would have been angry if she won Heroes versus Villains because I love Sandra. But Sandra got to share the love. And you know who my favorites are. I'm going to go ahead and say that my favorites are Denise. I'm going to put Parvati up there. I'm not going to put Boston Rob up there just yet because I think it's a far cry. I think I'm going to put Yule up there. I'm very excited to see what Sophie can do because I think that she might be the person that does Yule in. And I mean, if Sandra can win a 3rd time, wouldn't that just be incredible?
It'd be amazing.
Who are your
Cannot
standouts?
wait. I told you, I love everyone. I mean, honestly, who you just said, it's like yes.
Wendell?
Yep. Wendell, Sophie, Yule. Those are my people.
Okay.
I love Sophie
we can
and
agree
Yule
on
too.
so we both definitely love that alliance that's going on right now.
Oh yeah. I am not disappointed in anything happening. I was disappointed in Natalie leaving, but you know, you win some, you lose some. Yeah, I cannot wait till tomorrow night when we get to watch the next episode tomorrow.
I know, and so we're going to have another podcast out pretty quickly. But that's exciting. Everybody gets to listen to this either tonight or tomorrow in the morning in anticipation for the next episode. So we're going to be pumped. We're going to be ready. I'm very excited.
Yeah, and we mentioned during the podcast different input we received on Instagram.
Yes.
Djon posted some fun questions in our Instagram story where you could fill in, just your reactions to the episode. And we would love for you guys to keep on doing that. Our Instagram is Drop Your Buffs Podcast, but our Twitter is Drop Your Buff Pod. So
Yes.
as long as you search Drop Your Buffs, you'll find us on there. You can find Djon at Djon Alexander. Djon is spelled D-J-O-N.
Yes.
My handle is Hannah Gilia, and Gilia is spelled G-I-L-I-A. Hannah has an H at the end. And remember to subscribe to this podcast wherever you find them. And we're on YouTube if you want to watch our faces as we talk.
Right, so I'm just checking our Instagram now. I put up the question, what did you think what did you think of the episode? We want to hear your thoughts. And Brendan said, best premiere ever.
And he got it right. He got it right.
I think he did. We had, so just for the numbers, the votes, we had 3 people were fans of the Sele tribe. We had 8 fans of the Decal tribe, which meant it was what percentage? Oh, the percentage is gone. That doesn't matter. 27% to 73% in favor of Decal. And then, why is this moving around? So then we had 31% said, yes, they were happy with the first vote. 69 were not happy with the first vote.
Oh, yeah.
And then the second vote, 59% were happy with the vote. 41 were not happy with the vote.
That makes sense.
So I am in the not good portion of all of those votes. Hannah, everybody likes your thoughts. So here we are.
As it should be.
All right, we're going to have more questions. We're going to have more podcasts. We're going to have more fun. And we can't wait to have you along for the ride of Season 40, Winners at War.
Or Winners at War Dog.
Oh my God.
I love it. I will not let that go. All right. Besides my stupid pun, Djon, I've got nothing for you.
What? Okay.
All right, everybody. Have a great second episode of Survivor Winners at War Dog.
We
Bye,
love
everyone.
you all. Bye.
Everybody, drop your buffs.
Drop your buffs.
Everybody, drop your buffs.
Drop your buffs.
Everybody, drop your buffs.